Well, ladies and gentlemen, we do have more big updates when it comes to the 2024 election. I saw a Senate poll in Virginia that had Hung Cow down by only 1 point against Tim Kaine. Obviously, that would bode very, very well for Donald Trump in Virginia. I want to look at the potential situation for Trump. If he loses the Rust Belt, it's winning the election without the Rust Belt. I think he's going to win the Rust Belt. I give my prediction today. But what happens if he loses it? We've got this updated Iowa poll, which actually is kind of big at this point because there's going to be this huge Iowa poll that liberals keep telling us about tonight. That's going to be very close. It's weird. It's like they're zeroing in on these states like Iowa and Ohio, and they're trying to say they're all very close. It's total crap. Trump's going to win Iowa by like 9 or 10 points. Emerson is right here. They've got Trump up 10.5 in Iowa. And we've got this erroneous Ohio +3 poll. It's like these weird Midwestern states they're trying to say they're real close. It's total crap. And of course, it comes right at the end. Like, oh, now it's all close. Harris is trending. It's ridiculous. This is a very solid poll for Trump from Emerson. We will see. There's going to be another few polls that get released tonight. But I did want to go over that. You can see this is another final Virginia poll. And this is legitimate. We'll see how good this pollster is. But this is a tie. And there are a lot of undecideds. There are more than there's actually going to be. So you could say, meh, when it comes to the poll, that only adds up to 90%. That's obviously not going to happen when it comes to the election night. But still, you've got a tie like that. It is very, very interesting. Now, when it comes to this map, I've been saying for the past few days, I think the two potential states for Trump outside of the Big Seven, which are the 7 swing states. Now, this is my map with the exact colors when it comes to what I think is going to be happening. You can see New Hampshire, a potential 1 or a 2-point loss. It's shaded in the lightest of blue. Same thing with Virginia. Those are the two states. You also have Minnesota, which people will argue potentially that state as well could be in play for Trump. It's possible. There's been a few decent polls out of Minnesota, but I would say right now it's Virginia and New Hampshire. Those have been the places where we've seen the most aggressive polls in Trump's favor. And also there's other narratives at play with New Hampshire. There being so many independents. It's not like liberals have a stranglehold over that state. It's one of those coin flip type things. And then you also do have Virginia with the Glenn Youngkin narrative and the rally and everything like that. Trump's gone to Virginia. He has not gone to Minnesota. He has not gone to New Hampshire. He did go to New Mexico over New Hampshire. I'm not a big fan of that, but I don't have the internals. I think New Hampshire is going to go liberal by about 5 or 6 points, but that's just kind of a cookie cutter prediction. Who knows? Maybe people have, on the ground there could say something different. But either way, when it comes to this, I think it is very straightforward for Trump. It would be one of these flips of like a New Hampshire, which would enable you to lose the entire Rust Belt. This is Harris's number one path right now. It would be the full Rust Belt. As long as you're able to keep Nevada, you win New Hampshire, you lose the entire Rust Belt, you do get to 272. It's that simple. And then you do also have the option to potentially take a Virginia, as we just saw a poll that was tied. It was 45-45. That's not great. There's not going to be that many undecideds. But still, we're seeing a few different polls. We see a Rasmussen +2 in Virginia. We see a Rasmussen +1 for Harris in New Hampshire. These are within the margin of error. We've got a +1 Tim Kaine in Virginia, which would be great news for Trump because Trump's been outperforming all of the senators when it comes to these races. And it's probably how it's going to work out outside of maybe, well, we know Maryland, Hogan's going to perform better, but it's not going to matter. And then also maybe Hovde actually in Wisconsin. They're very close in terms of Trump's performance versus Hovde. And Hovde might win and maybe McCormick, but hopefully the Republicans could get 1 seat out of the Rust Belt at least when it comes to the Senate, at least 1, preferably 3, but at least 1, maybe 2. So when it comes to this, you can see in this scenario, you take Virginia, very close state. I'd say Trump is the underdog right now, but you take it. You take New Hampshire. Now you've got some wiggle room to potentially lose a Nevada, which is a very close state. You've still got Trump at 279. It would be kind of interesting here if Trump also, well, I guess that would be Trump losing Wisconsin. But yeah, that would basically be it. You lose Nevada, you lose all of the Rust Belt. But if you take Virginia, you take New Hampshire, let's say you even lose New Hampshire, it's still a Trump victory with just Virginia. So that's why Virginia or New Hampshire could be important if it comes down to it. I think we all expect worst case scenario. I have seen people predicting something like this, obviously not Virginia. It would be Virginia still blue, but it would be something like this, possibly even with Nevada still red, where Trump wins all of these Sun Belt states and then also takes Pennsylvania while losing Wisconsin and Michigan. Another popular prediction I've seen is this, where Trump wins 6 out of the 7 while losing Michigan, because right now, technically, Michigan, it is the one swing state that is the furthest left, although I think it's 50-50 worst case scenario for Trump right now. There's been some lopsided polls there. I do wonder if those will get taken off of Real Clear Politics. I haven't looked at Real Clear Politics yet today. I'm actually just going to do a quick reaction to all the latest polls and see what's been going on. Oh, there's barely any polls that have actually been inputted. They've got a Rasmussen Harris +1. That was released today. Rogers +1 from Rasmussen. Maybe Mike Rogers is a chance. But yeah, there should be more polls that get added here to Real Clear Politics. But overall, if you just go to the state by state, the average right now is still Trump plus 0.3. We're seeing if we're going to get an update with Wall Street Journal. By the way, with Atlas Intel, I don't know what's happening. I mean, this is like their 7th final poll. So they're going to be releasing another final poll tonight. It's getting to the point where it's like, I mean, what are we doing here? You know, and Rasmussen did that as well. They released like 2 or 3 final polls. It's like, if you release a final poll, I mean, just release it. Listen, I guess, you get more polls. It is what it is. TIPP tracker, that was daily today. We'll have to see. I'm just waiting to see if these get knocked off here at the bottom. This is just the general popular vote. And if they do, it's going to be a problem for Trump because Trump +2, +2, +3, that's helping Trump in terms of the aggregate be 0.3 up. I'm not sure if there will be another update from those polls. I'm hoping there won't be because we'd like to see Trump stay up in that. You've got a similar, there's really no new polls in Arizona. There was that one +6 in Nevada, which I think that's an outlier. I mean, you got Atlas Intel with a +4. To me, Nevada is a very close state. I think this aggregate is probably pretty accurate. It might be even within 1, honestly, like 1.5 to 1. Wisconsin, Harris still sitting +0.2. That's been a state that's kind of swung, and that's really based off of the outlier. And this is a total outlier. It's Marist and it's CNN that's really swung this narrative that Harris can win the Rust Belt and sweep it. But it's really not even a narrative because those polls really don't have Harris up in Pennsylvania. They'll say it's basically a tie. I'm not even kidding you. I think both of those pollsters released their final maps and they had like Pennsylvania 50-50, but they have her up in both Wisconsin and Michigan. And you can see this, the only reason she's up by 0.2 here, and there's this narrative in Wisconsin, is because of this +6. Tie, +1, +1, +1, +6, +1, tie. Rasmussen with a +3, +2, Marist. It's just a total outlier, and it's affecting the average here. At worst case, this should be a tie average, but really Trump should be up by like 0.1 or 0.2. But that +6 CNN poll really swung that state, and it might produce not a great average. This is the one where you do have Harris sitting 0.7. You've got the Rasmussen +1, not the end of the world. It's clearly within the margin. The Marist +3, and then all the other ones are very, very close. You've still got this +5 and +4 that's really helping Harris out. If those get knocked off, it's going to go down to like a Harris leading by like 0.2 or 0.3 if those +5 and +4s get knocked off. Trafalgar, I don't know if they'll be releasing another one. I would imagine they would be because this was done through the 20th. They normally release it right before the election, so we'll see if I'm guessing Trafalgar will go probably Trump 2 or Trump +1 in their final Michigan poll if I had to guess. Pennsylvania is the exact same thing. There's really no update. USA Today, you'll take a tie if you're Trump. USA Today has not been a very kind pollster to Trump this cycle. You've got the Marist. Marist did have Harris up to in Pennsylvania. I stand corrected. It was CNN that had the tie. You've got some positive polls here. Even Quinnipiac. I mean, Quinnipiac is not a Republican pollster. They've got Trump +2. Insider Advantage was very accurate in 2020. Trump +1. Fox News is not a Republican pollster. They're a Republican network, not a pollster. Not a Republican pollster. Trump +1. UMass Lowell has been more liberal. They only have Harris +1. I wonder if they'll do an update. Bloomberg, we'll see if they do an update. Their previous one was Harris +2. I want to see if the New York Times will also do an update in Pennsylvania. I'm not sure, but people were telling me they were going to do an update, and it could be an issue. If you look at the New York Times, they got knocked off just because of the date, like the time. It was like 3 weeks ago, so they knocked them off of the average. They had a Harris +3, but they haven't released a new one. So we'll see. But Pennsylvania, guys, I will say if something happens to where Harris does take the lead here, people are going to get very, very nervous if that does end up happening. And I think you're talking about 0.3, 0.4 difference. It's ridiculous. North Carolina looks very, very good for Trump. Very good. They'll argue, oh, these are conservative pollsters. I mean, it's pretty much every poll. It's even Emerson. It's even Marist. If you really are obsessed with Marist, how about Trump +2? But I don't even think they're arguing North Carolina. Liberals won't even argue it. I don't think they're going to argue Georgia either. Georgia outside of Marist is the consensus. And a lot of these are +2, +5, +2, +2, +6, +4. Quinnipiac +6. The Atlanta Journal, which is really good, +4. But we're not going to go over Georgia very long. I think Trump's going to win Georgia for sure. When it comes to this update, I have not seen this. I've not updated this in a few hours. 59.5. See what this is. 58.7. Trump down about a point. I mean, listen, as long as, it's about 58.42. It's about 59.41 actually, because it's at 58.7. Yeah, I mean, I'm not too surprised. It's because of Wisconsin, Michigan, and potentially, well, I guess Pennsylvania hasn't gotten more close. It's still at 56. But the overall point of this video is we'll see with New Hampshire. I'm surprised New Hampshire has not gotten closer. Virginia is actually trending away from Trump. It's at about 90-10 at this point. Minnesota's 90-10. New Mexico is about 95-5. Yeah, so at this point, according to the betting, it would be New Hampshire over Virginia. I kind of disagree with Virginia being 90-10 based off some of the polls. I would figure it'd be about 80-20. And then New Hampshire would be like 78-22 or something like that in favor of Harris. But either way, to me, it would be those two states if you're looking for it. It doesn't look extremely likely that either of those states are happening from a betting perspective, although I think they're being a bit conservative. I think Trump's got better chances than that, honestly, in both of those states. Not saying it's going to happen, but if you're able to take either of those states, it gives you another path. I don't think Trump needs the path, and I have Trump narrowly losing New Hampshire and Virginia. But as long as Pennsylvania happens, that's basically it. You've got Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania. It's done. At that point, these states don't even matter, but I still think Arizona's going to happen. I think like a potential worst case win scenario for Trump, which obviously if you win, it's best case no matter what. But I could potentially see Trump losing a Michigan and a Nevada, maybe even I can't really see Trump losing Wisconsin. I know Harris is a slight favorite, but listen, even if Trump does lose a Wisconsin, Michigan, and a Nevada, he still wins the election. It's based off of all the electoral votes with Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania. I mean, Georgia is down to a 70-30, which to me makes no sense. Arizona 76-24. But if anything, Trump should be going up in Georgia. I mean, we've seen no polling that would suggest Harris has a better chance today than she did yesterday. North Carolina 68. Yeah, a lot of these really, I mean, the fact that these are getting closer, I think might be based off of value. But again, we're not seeing any type of polls that would signal these, people should be logically betting on Harris to win a Georgia or a North Carolina. There's nothing that's come out. So, we're getting right to the end. You're seeing people get worried. It's getting closer. You've got this fake pump. You get the fake pump and then you'll get it's settled, and then Trump will just on election night, he'll just go once the votes start coming in, he'll get up to like a 95% chance by like 1 a.m. And he'll just, that's probably what's going to happen. It'll be live updated during the election night. So, and also you've got the New York Times needle, which is another thing to look at, which is a similar metric where it counts the votes and it forecasts it live in terms of total chances. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.